Hi, Mike.
Hi, Graham. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, very good.
So, well, let's start with the finest hours, and
Yep.
I'll start with my most mundane question first, and I'll get to more interesting ones after that. So,
Okay.
for those people who haven't seen the film yet, can you just tell us a little bit about your character and your role in the film?
Yeah, I play Frank Fateau, who's who I guess, well, he works in the engine room. He's the sort of guy down below, along with Casey Affleck's character and Josh Stewart. We're the sort of engine room guys, and he's I guess, a proper salty sea dog. He's been around. He's been actually in two previous shipwrecks that he has also, he's survived. So he's been around the block, that's for sure. And the guy knows what's coming when things start to go wrong on this ship. And really, along with Casey and Josh, we're the ones that are on the same side trying to get the ship into a place of safety so that we can be rescued. And then all sorts of nightmarish scenarios ensue with me breaking my arm and nearly drowning and, the usual kind of thing that happens when you're being shipwrecked.
I enjoyed the film very much, and but
good.
as I was watching it, but as I was watching it, though, I thought, this looks like it must have been a miserable filming experience, because you guys look cold and wet, and you're in this, nasty ship under, belly and stuff. What was the filming experience like for this movie?
Well, I have to be honest. I mean, in terms of discomfort, having worked on The Hobbit, that sets a high bar for discomfort. So,
right.
Everything after that seems relatively benign. At least I had my own face in the finest hours, and that was a big plus. But in terms of the wet and the cold, we did. We got very cold. I know that, Josh Stewart particularly, because he was only wearing a T-shirt for some of the stuff that we were doing on deck, and he got properly cold. I mean, the poor guy was a real trooper. But we would stand there, and Vince, the first assistant director, would shout out, turn on the elements, and when he said that, we knew what was coming. And so the wind machine would start up, the rain machine, then the wave machines, all this stuff would be going, the gimbal, but the good thing about it was that it did place you in an environment, not obviously as harsh as the reality of what these guys went through, but it placed you in an environment where you were having to respond to real things. And I think it was a great choice for the people who made the film not to rely purely on CG to create that physical environment for us to work with, that we were actually being battered around and thrown around and all the rest of it. And you kind of, I wouldn't say acting goes out of the window, but you are having to genuinely respond to the situation around you, and which makes for, I think, really interesting, spontaneous reactions when you're trying to help people up off the ground who've been knocked down or whatever. I really enjoyed it. Because I love doing that kind of stuff. It's that kind of physical world that you can be dropped into and experience for a few months and then do something different. So it's for me, it's part of the joy of the job, really.
Right. Now, was this a story that you were familiar with before you started filming?
No, it wasn't. No, I'm ashamed to say I did not know about the story, and obviously I read about it once. I was doing the job, and it is the most extraordinary tale of survival. And, those guys who brought the 36-500 out in those conditions, in what was really a suicide mission, to go and rescue these people on the boat, and then to arrive at the ship and see the situation that these guys were in, where they had quite literally minutes before the ship started to sink, and then evacuate them all and get them to safety. Apart from, obviously, sadly, the tiny character. But that is an extraordinary achievement. And when you look at the people, the real guys who did it, mean, they look like kids. They're like 21, 22. Tough-looking kids, but nevertheless, these are not sort of, middle-aged men doing it. They're just out of high school, really.
Right.
So it's an incredible achievement, I thought.
For sure. Now, when you're playing, a real person as opposed to a fictional character, do you prepare differently as an actor?
I think, broadly speaking, no, because you are trying to honor the script and tell the story in hopefully an entertaining and exciting way, and in a movie like this, which is it's a roller coaster ride, and you want to take the audience on that journey with you. But at the back of your mind, you're also aware that you also have a duty and responsibility towards the person who actually went through it. And we were visited by one of the guys. One of the 36,500 guys, who I think is the only living survivor now. And, you meet him, and goodness me, the guy was so unassuming and modest, and exactly what you would expect from somebody who actually risked his life on a daily basis. And
right.
as an actor, when you meet people who really have done these things, there's a part of you that feels, a little bit of a fraud, to be honest, because you're, there you are up there having, coffees brought to you and people bringing up towels to keep you dry during setups and all the rest of it. And there was none of that for these guys. It was, minute by minute fighting for your life. And I developed massive respect for them in the making of the film. That's for sure. And I think all the other guys did too.
Sure. Now, over the past year or so, you've had what I like to call a Benedict Cumberbatch year, whereas he had this year where nobody knew who he was, and then a year later he was a household name. And it seems like every time I've turned around in the past few months, there's Graham McTavish. There was obviously the Hobbit movies, but you were, like you said, you were kind of disguised there. But then there was Outlander and Creed and The Finest Hours, and every time I turn around, there you are. So I know you've been acting for a long time, but is this just sort of the culmination of years of hard work, or what's sort of the secret to your quote overnight success?
It's a funny thing. Certainly, it's been great recently, and there's some exciting news coming up that'll be announced in the next week or so concerning a job that I have been working on, but they've been kind of not wanting to announce it until they were ready. So that's great, and it's certainly involved in a project that I'm really excited about doing. But the other ones, it kind of makes me laugh a little bit, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've done theatre, I've done everything you can possibly imagine, and now yes, people recognize me more, or a little more familiar with who I am and my work and all the rest of it. But the process of doing those jobs, all of those jobs, has been the same. You come to the job, whether it's in a small theatre in Scotland where I started out, or if you're working on something like The Hobbit. At the end of the day, you're in a space with a few other people trying to tell a truthful story, with the help of a director and a good script and all the rest of it. And so the actual process is always the same. You might be surrounded by all this other stuff, but it's good to, I think, have had experience where you're familiar with that world. What I'm not familiar with is the world of people recognizing me and all that sort of thing. But that's kind of, I don't really think too much about that, to be honest. It's
sure.
It's nice if people are kind about what you've done, but I just keep doing what I enjoy, and hopefully that coincides with people wanting me to do those things. That's how I see it.
There you go. Now, you seem like a genuinely pleasant gentleman, but you often get cast as rather rough and tumble, shall we say, or slightly more acerbic characters. Why do you think that is?
There's lots of reasons, really. I think, I look the way I do, and there's your life history is written in your face and all those sort of things, and you just end up with a particular look which resonates for some people in particular types of roles, and of course, the more you do one kind of a role, the more people start to associate you with those things, and that's a consequence of this business. I don't know. I mean, I enjoy playing characters like Dougal Mackenzie in Outlander because they're kind of complicated and difficult, and they're, 1 minute you like the guy, 1 minute you don't. Those sort of people, very, very villainous types that I've played. Every actor will tell you, they're just great fun to do. They really are.
Right.
And you get to, I've always done them. I've done comedy mainly on stage, but, with that kind of gritty drama, it's something that I've always enjoyed. I was always going to be, that kind of guy rather than the Romeo character. So
right.
It's just how things played out, really.
Yeah, well, it seems to be serving you well.
Well, hopefully. Yeah.
Speaking of Outlander, real quickly, my wife and I are huge fans of the show, so obviously that was
great.
a big success for you. And now you're not in season 2. Do you know? Are we going to see you again, or are you not allowed to say?
Yeah. No, I'm in season 2. Oh yes.
Oh, great.
You will most certainly be seeing me. Yeah. And pretty soon, actually, I think. So
cool.
yeah, we've really enjoyed doing it. It's been it's been great, actually. Oh, thank you.
Cool. So what else do you have coming up that we can look for you in then besides season 2 of Outlander?
Well, there's this project that unfortunately I can't talk about.
Right.
That's mainly what's going to be coming up, along with season 2 of Outlander. And I'm off to do a movie, an independent movie in New Zealand, actually, called The Stolen, which is set in the 19th century there during the gold rush, involving the abduction of a child. And myself and some others helped the mother to find the child in a sort of road trip kind of adventure in the 19th century in New Zealand. And it's a great script, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I start shooting that in about 2 weeks' time. So yeah,
very cool.
That's what's coming up.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we'll be on the look for it, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some nice guy Graham McTavish roles coming up hopefully soon too.
No, I hope so. Yeah, that would be good.
But I'll tell people. I'll say, listen, Graham's really a nice guy. Don't fall for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mike. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying watching you in all of your projects. So continued success to you.
All right. Thanks very much again.